is from spinach to sweet potatoes, almonds to beets. Those pretty plants might be feeding your symptoms and not your strength. From bloating to joint pain to anxiety, brain fog, cravings. Y'all, this thing is not all in your head. It definitely could be at the tip of your fork. So tonight, we plan to expose the truth that you were never meant to know. And we're doing it through the lens of science, real stories, and real food. This is the episode where we take a wrecking ball to the health and wellness industry's most beloved lie. It just ain't the truth. So actually, we're breaking down Sally K. Norton. You might want to take that as a note. Her toxic superfoods based on her research, her own recovery, and her incredible book that's shaking up the health and wellness world. We will, thank you, Robyn. I got my copy too. We'll uncover how oxalates, check this out, y'all, how oxalates, plants' defense chemicals silently build up in your body and create symptoms that we've been taught not to track back to food, and we call them food products. And mostly, we're handing you the freedom to stop following food rules that never worked in the first place. So grab your notebook, grab your ribeye or your chuck eye or your beef fat and your favorite electrolyte or a hot cup of bone broth, because tonight we are asking the question that changes everything. And that question is, courtesy of Dr. Anthony Chaffee, are plants trying to kill you, to kill us? Is that what the goal of plants are? So let's get right into it. Robyn, take it away.
All right, you guys. So this is the question you've all been dying to know the answer to. And we've been hearing that plants are trying to kill us. We've been talking about the power of a carnivore diet. But tonight we're going to talk about these plants and plant-based eating. So we're coming for those lives that we've been fed for years. So let me bring up my slide deck. I got a couple of slides here. So I guess the main thing that I want to say is plants are sugar in disguise, right? So we have been told that the best way to eat for us is to eat a plant-based diet. And most of us have been on a plant-based, low-fat diet for most of our lives until we found our way to carnivore. So plants are really sugar in disguise. So here's the hidden truth. We were told to eat more plants, but the truth is that plants are not, I won't say not always your friend. Plants are not really your friend. Plants are meant to be like medicine. Plants are good in, that's something that's good in moderation. Like you shouldn't be eating that stuff every day. So plant equals carbs. So when you look at anything that's in a box package, it's got a long list of ingredients. Those are all plant-based foods, and those are carbohydrates. Look at the back of the package and see what it says in the nutrition facts. I like what DeNitra says. When you see nutrition facts on the back, you know on the front there's a lie somewhere. So we were told to eat more plants. We were told to drink green smoothies. We were told to eat the rainbow in order to be healthy. But what we were never told is that plant equals carb equals sugar, right? So we've been taught wrong. Our food pyramid is upside down. Our current food pyramid is wrong. And it is a health deception. A couple of weeks ago, and every week I think we bring up this guy, Ansel Keys, and his name, right? And we talk about, how we got to where we are with our food pyramid. We talk about Kellogg. and how they wanted people to eat this bland food. We've been deceived about what we should be eating and what was truly healthy for our bodies. So, so here's the thing. Bread, what does bread do when you eat it? Well, I think a lot of us know that bread converts to sugar in the body. So over the years, I have watched people go from eating a hot dog, a bun with every hot dog, a bun with every burger, and everybody's like, buying a package of hot dog buns, and then at the end of the party, we got 2 hot dogs left and a whole pack of buns because nobody's eating bread, because we all know that bread converts to sugar in the body and it's not healthy for us. But what we don't know is that a sweet potato, white potato, is also going to convert to sugar in the body. Then also fruits and veggies. Your body doesn't care how natural they are. All of those plants are going to convert and break down to sugars in your body. So your body converts almost every plant food. Yes, even carrots, quinoa. Oh, quinoa is a superfood. I remember when they started talking about quinoa and how good it was for you, and everybody needed to be eating quinoa. G always talks about the kale. Kale all of a sudden went from the decoration on the salad bar to now being on the plate and in the pot. And it is a superfood, right? All those superfoods are going to break down into sugar in your body. So what does that mean? That means that your glucose is going to go up and your insulin is going to spike. What does that mean? And I think about this too. And I have an analogy. It's not a medical analogy. It's my own personal way of thinking about insulin. So when your glucose goes up, and I think about these like little Pac-Mans, and I'm watching them come out to try to get that sugar and stuff it in your cells, because your body can only handle a teaspoon of sugar a day. 1 teaspoon. And let's say you ate a slice of bread and a sweet potato, and then at the end you had apple pie. Your insulin is working overtime to try to deal with all of that sugar. And what is it going to do? It's going to store fat. You'll have those energy spikes and tanks. If you're on a carnivore diet, you may remember the days when you used to have a glucose dip in the afternoon because you had a high carb meal. Everybody was sleeping in the afternoon after going to the Indian restaurant. And that was the one that everybody would say, like, you're going to be tired after you go, because it was a very carby food. And then you're going to go into this cycle of having cravings. You're going to go into a cycle of having cravings. So when you're eating carbohydrates and eating sugars, it is going to breed those cravings. So if you're struggling to stay on track and you're still consuming a little bit of this and a little bit of that, just know sugar talks. Sugar talks, and it is talking to you and telling you that you need something sweet. You need something. You need to eat because your body is having an insulin response. And so it's not just about cake and cookies. This is talking about clean eating, clean, quote unquote, clean foods that are quietly wrecking your health. So I do want to talk a little bit about oxalates, because oxalates are natural chemicals that plants use to protect themselves. If you think about an animal, animals can run. Animals have claws and teeth, and they can fight back, but plants can't do this. So how do plants fight back? Well, they fight back with natural chemicals. And oxalates is a big one, and this is used to protect plants. Plants don't want to be eaten, so they're fighting back. And so the things that was so healthy, those green smoothies with all that spinach, was a ton of oxalates. Almonds, beets, sweet potatoes, chia seeds, dark chocolate, and the list goes on and on of high oxalate food. And you hear about things like a keto rash or something like that people get when they go on a very low carbohydrate diet. And that is because oxalates are trying to break their way out of your system. Your body can't break oxalates down. So they build up inside your tissues like tiny little needles. They lodge in your joints, skin, bladder, thyroid, and even in your brain. Can you imagine shards of glass look similar to glass in your brain? So you got a mystery pain, you got an eczema flare, you got unexplained fatigue. I've got this rash on my forehead, and I just know that this is oxalates. And I've been carnivore for 2 years, but I know that it's oxalates. So those things can be, a lot of times, can be explained by oxalates. And removing those healthy plants can give a lot of benefit. So I want to go down to this one. So removing healthy plants, okay? This is what I did when I went carnivore. I removed plants from my diet. What happened to me when I did that? In 1 week, I was feeling less inflammation. Um, I really feel like people can feel a greatly reduced level of inflammation in your body in a very short time by removing plants from your diet. 90 days later, my eczema had cleared up, my IBS went away, my sleep apnea was reducing, anxiety was going down. I was able to wean myself off of this medication, right? So these halo foods, like spinach, like quinoa, they come wrapped in a halo, but they are sugar and toxins in disguise, and your body cannot heal while it's still under chemical attack. So, we've been taught to worship these foods. We've been taught that we can go into the store and buy a plant-based burger, and that's better than a beef patty. How insane does that sound? If you look at the box, look at the ingredients that's in that plant-based patty. It's a long list of chemicals. How can that be better for you than a natural food? You don't need spinach to detox. So everybody's talking about, I'm going to do a cleanse. I'm going to do a colon cleanse. Well, you don't need any spinach to detox. You don't need a banana for energy or potassium. And you don't need kale to be healthy. You need real nourishment that your body can recognize and absorb. So your body, what's bioavailable to your body for your body to use is meat and fat. And we know that there is not one essential carbohydrate. If you have never heard that before, we're letting you know tonight. Carbohydrates are a non-essential macronutrient, and they don't need to be there. The things that you need in your diet are fat and protein. So you need nourishment that your body can recognize and absorb. You don't need sugar spikes throughout the day. You want your insulin to stay level throughout the day as much as possible. And you definitely don't need those microscopic crystal shards throughout your body. So if you've been doing all the right things, you've been doing everything that they told you to do, like they told you to eat plant-based, they told you to go low fat, they told you to eat more vegetables, eat more fruits, and you're still feeling sluggish, you're still overweight, you're still struggling, having to diet all the time, you need to take a hard look at what's on your plate. So I'm going to transition now that you know the truth about what plants are doing to your body. We're going to go a little bit deeper. I am going to share. G, as you guys can see, is not with us tonight, but she did send us a video. And so we are going to go ahead and take a look at G's video right now and see what she has to say. Here it is. All right. Hopefully I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go.
They said, eat all your vegetables. They said, drink all your juice. They said, eat the fruit first. Y'all, they didn't know they was trying to kill us. Hey, everybody, this is G Brown, the Lifestyle Changer, and I could not miss this segment here. So I got it for you. Let's bust the myth about eating the rainbow is what I'm calling it. Because ooh, like a boring plate. No, I want color. I didn't want rice and mashed potatoes, and that's just bland looking. So you want color. Okay, we've been told for decades that health lives on our plate as long as it's full of color, right? Eat the rainbow once again, that they said. Fill your bowl with the fruits. Wait a minute, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds. Y'all know how that pyramid looked. And that was marketing. And it worked because we found it, right? Sound familiar for you? All right. I followed that advice. And like so many of you on my plate, please tell me why I was eating kale. Because y'all know kale was the decoration on the salad bar. And then all of a sudden somebody said, I did think it was curly and cute. Baby, I done made kale chips. I've done it all. So let me just show you real quick. That's me as a vegan. That's me with, not on the left with the flour one. That's the just regular old standard American diet. But all of those others in there, that was me struggling to eat those vegetables. It's like, oh, what do you want? A smoothie? Nothing is fulfilling. Nothing was fulfilling for me, right? I followed the advice like so many of us. We have a starch, a vegetable, and a meat. And then to make sure they got food, we're going to add some bread to it. All right. And then you're going to drink at the end, get that food down first. I did that. I did that with, y'all, I used to make some beets. Oh, I was trying to do the fresh queen. Right. But what they left out, what they didn't say, is that many of those beautiful, colorful plants are loaded with chemicals. Come on, and your body can't break it down. Somewhere we're going to talk about the multiple stomachs that actually can break down vegetables, but we don't have one. We have one stomach. All right. And all those colors at the end of the day, they break down into sugar, plain and simple sugar. All right. Plants don't want you to eat them. Unlike animals, they can't run. Oh, but they can defend themselves. Think about that Venus flytrap, right? Think about poison ivy, right? That's what we ended up calling it. All because they saw a reaction immediately. But I can tell you that the reactions are there. I see it on bodies every day. Okay. I'm on a ship right now. I see what the food is doing. So these toxins that the vegetables produce, these chemical defense like oxalates and lectins. So spinach. Oh, replace lettuce with spinach, y'all. Okay. Almonds, beets, chia seeds, sweet potatoes, and even turmeric. These things don't just slide through your system and out the other end. They build up in your joints. Oh, why I'm having this stiffness. They break out in your skin. They affect your bladder, your kidneys, and then what? Joint pain, brain fog. And I'm going to prove to you. Tell me about pollen. Are you out there getting scoops of it that laid across your car, clogged up thing? That came from plants. Okay. So sis, let me just tell you, you think that almond butter and that beet smoothie is actually helping you. It isn't. It isn't. A lot of those go through your intestines and chop it up. So I'm letting you know that plants equal sugar, even what we call the healthy ones. All right. All carbs turn into sugar. That quinoa bowl, sugar. That sweet potato, sugar. That green smoothie with that little bit of banana, sugar, 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 sugar. It with mood swings. And it's not just your willpower. It isn't. You really have to detox just like somebody that you would classify on drugs. You're just on a legal drug right now. They found a way to hook everybody, right? You to go into the marijuana store, you got to be 21. But to eat a lollipop, you could be a baby. Sugar. So look at how they have addicted us. All right. So let me just say, I have no more sugar crashes. I eat guilt-free. I tell people, they like, well, how much do you eat? All the time if I want to. eat whatever it is that I want, because I don't need a plant to survive. You need food that loves you back. If it's tearing your stomach up, all of a sudden you eat and it's bloating, baby, that's not love. You can't have a black eye and say that they love you. And plants give you a black eye. We used to call it, oh, I'm so tired. I'm getting these dark circles. Baby, the plants is whooping up on you. And it's coming through as a black eye. They are not your friend. So this is where I'm going to leave this. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. But remember, plants are not your friend.
I have one thing that I want to say in response to what G said. I'm putting my grandkid on Front Street today. Yesterday was Easter, and the kids got a big bag of candy, and they ate all that candy and chips, and today my granddaughter had a meltdown at school and got suspended. She's in third grade. She's in third grade. She had a meltdown because she couldn't have candy for breakfast. How sad is that? I was very sad about that. I'm like that. I told her mom, like, don't let her have any more sugar, because this is her response. But this is all of our response to too much sugar. All right, DeNitra, take it away.
Absolutely. And, the one thing that I want to add to what G said, I love where she talked about black eyes, right? Because I often do that, like something's punching us. And she's right. That ring around our eyes, it's a black eye, and it's not getting well. So ultimately, guys, we were praised for eating salads and shamed for eating steak. But what if that salad was spiking your blood sugar and feeding your inflammation? All plants, and you're going to continue to hear this from us, all plants are carbohydrates. All carbohydrates convert to sugar, and sugar spikes insulin. And when insulin is present, it stores fat and drives inflammation, right? So often on the show, you hear us talk about ultra processed foods. And we've really never unpacked that to talk about what those ultra processed foods are. And Robyn mentioned earlier about the labels on the back being that's where the nutrition facts are, right? Which means there's a lie somewhere. So when we think about ultra processed foods, we often ask you guys on this show to consider like shopping the rim of the store and not in the middle of the store. What I want you to hear tonight is those ultra processed foods are all based in plants. So all of the plant stuff like Doritos, Oreos, they are all made from corn, soy, wheat, oats, seed oils, sugarcane. The repackaged into cereals, crackers, shakes, bars, and some type of meat substitute. All of these things are based in plants. So Robyn mentioned earlier how we see this comparison to a beef burger being compared to a Beyond Burger and all the chemicals that are in it, right? And we want to say that eating that Beyond Burger is better than eating meat. Remember, I often remind you guys that when you take meat out of your diet and people are wearing a badge of honor of not eating meat, you have just subscribed to a complete sugar-based diet. Everything you consume is sugar when you do not eat meat. Okay, I just want that to register. So I want to go a little deeper into the science of seeds. So I kept having this revelation, like seeds never die. Basically, grass never dies. Like grass is a powerful thing. Plants are powerful. I mean, sometimes, and I have a picture, I literally was walking in the neighborhood in downtown Jackson, And I could see where the strong plant literally just lifted up the grass. Literally, it was just hanging at the top, but you could see the grass had just lifted it up. It was so powerful. Plants are strong. They're not, I mean, they become trees, y'all. Right? Some plants and some weeds, they never go away. You think about in your yard, how often you have to fight with weeds. They never, ever die. So guess what they're doing inside of you, right? Seeds never die. They are biologically designed to resist digestion. Their goal is to persist, to keep their lifeline going. So guess what it does inside of you? It keeps going. When you eat them, I'm talking about your flax seeds, your chia seeds, your oats, your legumes, yes, nuts. They continue to live inside of you, fermenting, irritating, and inflaming your gut. That is what plants do. There is rarely a time where you're going to be able to sit and eat these plants. You know, you go to dinner, you have a vegetable plate and you feel proud. We've been made to, and I've been there. I've been a vegan and a vegetarian. So I'm telling you these things from experience. I can remember going to Olive Garden feeling so proud about how much salad I ate, how many vegetables I ate. I only ate the pasta. I asked for more vegetables. I was a proud sister. However, all of that was metabolizing inside of my body as sugar, right? This persistence is part of their survival strategy. It has nothing to do with your health. It is not going to keep you healthy, right? You are consuming all sugar when you eat this way. So we go from, and I want to kind of paint this picture. We go from having like a plain salad with limited protein, zero fat, because we are all taught about low fat. So we're eating no fat. And then we move from that and we then are wanting to have, we even eat veggie burgers over a salad, right? Then we're drinking a sweet tea. And really, we're just saying we're not eating anything that's animal. When you don't eat animals, you're eating sugar, okay? So I want to drive home, like a lot of people talk about they can't eat red meat. And so when I ask them, like, when did you ever just sit down and have red meat as an option? It's usually never. It usually is back to with a bun that they had on their burger, some French fries, a dessert, and some tea. And actually, the burger was the most healthy thing that you could have eaten, right? Plants are fighters, y'all. You think about at your house, if you are a plant grower, you have a green thumb, and you think about those plants, like if you've left for some time and you come back and it appears that those plants are dead and you give them a little sunlight and a little water, they perk up. It's the same thing that's happening in your body, right? Now, Robyn, you have to help me with the name of the bag that people have when they're not able to go to the bathroom. They have a bag. I'm gonna be quiet.
Colostomy bag.
Colostomy bag. Do your research. Thank you, Robyn. Do your research and understand that so many of the foods that we're naming now are still in their whole state in those bags. You can see the corn. You can see the rice kernels. What you do not see in those bags are meat, because your body absorbs meat as nutrients. Your body absorbs fat as nutrients. Okay. So now I'm going to take us to school. Remember, I'm the educator here, right? G's an educator too. Rob's an educator. We all come to teach and bring awareness. But I'm going to go historic on us tonight, because I really want us to understand how we got to this place of even becoming vegetarians. And again, anything that I say here, you can Google it, you can do your own research. I want you to understand who Ellen G. White is. She is the founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And this is no disrespect, no disregard to any religion. The purpose of me sharing this is historical for history. She and Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, he was a disciple of hers. They created this cereal empire. They promoted vegetarianism, not for health, but for religious and moral purity. They believe that meat consumption triggered impure thoughts, especially ding, 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 for sexual desire. We giving it to you truthfully tonight. Do your research. Ellen G. White and Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. All right. So then you have Dr. Kellogg, who ran a religious health institution known as the Battle Creek Sanatorium, where patients were fed vegetarian diets and subject to harsh anti-pleasure regimens. He believed that the bland food, check this out, y'all, the bland food, like his newly invented cornflakes, could reduce the temptation of masturbation. We in class tonight, y'all. This was Dr. Kellogg, all right? His real aim was not nourishment, it was suppression. These extreme ideologies shaped early 20th century dietary norms, linking salvation to salad and demonizing meat, not based on science, but on dogma. I want y'all to be able to hear that tonight, right? So some of these things that we are following go much deeper than our attempts to just be healthy. These teachings led the groundwork for food pyramid we inherited today, built on grains, but no metabolic truth. None of these things were built on our health. That's just not what they were built on. Let's go a step further, right? So then came the agricultural revolution, which made grains cheap, abundant, and profitable. Hanging with the Browns. Yes, it was all about sales. The government got behind it and profits soared. But guess what happened? Our health and healing plummeted. As meat and fat were stripped from the plate, grains became king. And we saw the rise in diabetes, obesity, autoimmune disease, and more metabolic mayhem. So why are we saying that tonight? Again, our goal on this show is to bring awareness. While we all, Robyn and I, practice carnivore, we practice eating meat, we have found healing by eating meat. We are not necessarily promoting this to you, but what we do want you to understand is the science and the history of why you make choices like you do. A lot of times when I'm talking to people about meat, their conversation is, oh my God, I just can't imagine just eating meat 24/7. Oh my God, I just, it doesn't digest well. Meat is not meant to digest. It's meant to be absorbed in your body as nutrients to keep insulin low. So there is no need for storage. The things that are stored on your body are all plant-based stuff. This inflammation, if we take it all out and get a chance to dissect it, we're going to know that it is all rooted in some type of plants. All right. So what I want to give you tonight, along with that, is macronutrient truth. Protein and fat are the essential nutrients for the body. What does that mean? You hear us say that often. We use this term essential. That means that your body cannot function properly without it. Protein and fat are essential. So let me tell y'all my new love. I got a whole new love. I have discovered beef fat. Right. So I eat fat often. When I eat my ribeye, I eat the beef. I eat the fat on the ribeye. I eat egg yolks. I eat heavy cream. Like, I am not afraid of fat. Right. I eat butter, all the things. Y'all, OMG. beef fat. I literally am now going to the butcher. Thank you, Robyn. I am literally going to my butcher and buying beef fat. And I'm buying it by the pound, $2.50 a pound, y'all. You can't beat it with a stick. Okay. So I go buy it, I bring it home, I cook it in a skillet, I let it get crispy, and oh my God, I can enjoy it. So let me tell you some good things about fat and why it is so essential to the body. This beef fat and fat altogether is healthy for you because it doesn't spike your insulin. It literally is the bypass. I mean, protein could potentially working together could turn to glucose, whole nother scientific lesson, and potentially have some type of spike. Fat, y'all, ain't no spikes. And it's filling so that you are not hungry. Y'all, it's my new love. I'm going to have it every day. I'm not going without beef fat. It is, y'all heard me talk about purse bacon. Now I've been walking around here saying that beef fat is better than bacon. Real talk, y'all. If you ain't tried it, get somewhere to you a butcher, ask them to give you some beef fat, take it home, cook it. And then guess what? You get to save the tallow. Use it when you decide you want to eat some chicken wings, and use it to fry your chicken wings in so you're not using a seed oil. Y'all, it's my new best discovery. With that being said,
I do want to say, DeNitra, just want to chime in on that, because for anybody who is a non-pork eater, like I don't eat pork for religious reasons or because whatever reasons you think of not eating pork, you can eat beef fat cracklings, and they are so good. So delicious. Yes.
y'all, when I tell you just a little salt, it ain't nothing fancy. It's going to hold your appetite. And then let me tell you, on here a lot of times we talk about non-scale victories. Let me tell y'all, I've been eating this beef fat, and because no insulin is present, my body is releasing the inflammation on me. Like, y'all, hook up with ChatGPT if you don't believe me. Do your own homework. Like, we encourage you to research, experiment on yourself. Like, yes. I have lost a pound a week, right? And this thing is not even about weight loss, but I feel like I have been in almost a 3-year stall on releasing weight, where my body composition is changing, my body is healing, things are going well, but I just was not releasing weight like I wanted to, right? Oh my God, for this week and a half that I've been eating this beef fat, y'all, I'm never gonna live without it. It's not gonna happen. It will be packed and taken with me wherever I go. So if you haven't had beef fat, or you're cutting off the beef fat on your ribeye, don't do that. Just don't do that. Y'all, eat the beef fat. There's beef bacon for those of you that have a problem with pork. Here you go. Here's your solution, and it's good for your skin. You can literally put your finger over there and rub it on your skin. Y'all, my black eyes in like 7 days have lightened up. My brain clarity. Yeah, my mood. Y'all, get you some beef fat. Okay, I'm off that one. Okay, here we go. So here's what I want to drive home. We're still talking about macronutrient truth. So I said to you that protein and fat are essential. Your body cannot survive without them. All right. Here's what's non-essential: carbohydrates in any form. Your liver can make all the glucose needed via glucogenesis. What I say is protein and fat, like yellow and blue makes green. Protein and fat will make the glucose that your body needs. So hear us tonight. You've heard us say carbohydrates are sugar. All plants are sugar. And now I'm telling you a macronutrient truth. This is a macronutrient fact. Carbohydrates are non-essential to the body. You ain't got to have it. You don't need it, period. Okay? So let me ask you this. If carbs are non-essential, but protein and fat are required and essential, why are we building our entire plate around plants? I just want you to think about that. When you go get a salad somewhere and you eat this huge salad with this little piece of protein, and then you put some broccoli on the side, you put some macaroni on the side, or you put in all these things on the side, and you got this little piece of protein, and remember, 0 fat. Why, if those two things are essential to our body, why are we doing that? I'm gonna just leave that for you to answer. All right. So let's talk about this: clean eating versus disordered eating. Smoothies, detox teas, juice cleanses, and vegan bowls look holy, but guess what? You feel horrible, right? I worked with a new client this week that we have been having conversations for almost 3 years. And she finally was agreeable to giving things a try with taking out the sugars, taking out the processed foods in all forms. And oh my God, the call that we had together on Thursday literally brought tears to my eyes. She was so excited about how great she felt, how she wasn't ravenous. Y'all, when y'all just eating these plants, this is why you starving. This is why you cheating on yourself, right? And then you go into the gym so you don't get fluffy, because guess what? Plants are bulking agent. You think about all the animals that we bulk up by feeding them grains. It's the same thing for you. So you living in the gym, over exercising, and wondering why you're not releasing weight. Y'all, I was so excited for my client to just say, believe in herself, give it a try. And I'm talking about within 4 days, she was seeing some noticeable differences. Even told me that she had been suffering with plantar fasciitis, getting up in the mornings and having to wear like some type of splint or something on her foot. Like she was able to get up and not have that. Oh my God. Y'all, we are talking healing on this show tonight, okay?
Yes.
All right. Beneath the restriction was fear, guilt, and control and inflammation. When we stopped these trends and started listening to our body, everything started to change, right? So women, and G and Robyn both talked about this, like we are all trying to eat according to these colors. We are running and walking and doing these daily exercises. But guess what, y'all? We are still exhausted and gaining weight. We are exhausted trying to keep up with drinking these protein shakes that are built in seed oils. We're trying to make these salads taste good by putting salad dressing, and that's sugar on top of sugar. All the salad dressings are made with seed oils, right? So when we replace smoothies with steak, you can immediately, or beef in any form, you can immediately see inflammation start to disappear. You're going to see your body feel better. Your skin start to improve. This slimming down in your face. All right. So here's my own testimony again. And most of you have heard me talk about it. Like I lost bloating. I lost anxiety. My mood swings improved, right? After I walked away from this. And the major thing, and this is why I haven't been so stuck on, it feels like I've been in a stall. The major thing is that I was diagnosed with an autoimmune issue, which was lupus. Y'all, there are no signs, right? And I've met other people who've been diagnosed with lupus, people who have been diagnosed with MS. And the recommendation is to eat more plants, eat more vegetables, eat more fruits. And I'm saying today, and there are people out there, again, do your Google research, be a Google doctor, don't be afraid. I'm saying, learn for yourself. Listen to your body. This bloating that you're feeling, it ain't got nothing to do with meat. Y'all ain't eating meat, so why you still bloated? Why you still in pain? Why you still hurting if you're not eating meat? It's not something wrong with your body. Your body, what they told me about the autoimmune was it is your body fighting itself. What God showed me is it was my body fighting to protect me. Get this out of you and watch how you, y'all, I am aging in reverse. 9 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, I was very sick and inflamed. Okay. So if kale made you tired, bloated, anxious, and hungry, was it ever your friend?
Right.
Dr. Moore tells us often to love the things you love. Now, am I coming for vegans? I am not. Am I coming for vegetarians? I am not. We are not, right? If that's working for you and you're not having to do these high supplements and you're feeling comfortable eating that way and you seem to be having some success, I say go for it. I'm like Jesus. We're like Jesus. We came for the sick. If you know that you are not well and something ain't working out, we're saying tonight, could this be the problem? I have a friend who was a vegan and a vegetarian for 14 years until she literally was put on disability.
Yeah.
Multiple surgeries, mood swings, mind changes, just lots of stuff, right? We're saying tonight, perhaps you're loving something that's not loving you back. That's all we're saying. And if the science says that the body thrives and is essential protein and fat, then we should be able to consider that. Now, there are some popular people, some very high influencers. I hear things like, they're vegan, they got better. I will say anybody who changes their way of eating from the standard American diet, you will see some improvements. I'm going to give that. If you go from the standard American diet to being a vegetarian or vegan, I will say, yes, there are going to be some improvements because you've taken out some processed foods, some heavy grain eating. What we're saying is it bioavailable? Is it going to sustain you for the long haul? Those are the questions. There's another high influencer on, I'm not calling any names, but they talk about this is God's food. You should be eating God's food. And I'm saying to you, if you're a Bible person, the Bible tells us in Genesis 9 that we should be eating living things.
Yes.
It is in the word. After the flood, the ground was not the same anymore, y'all. The ground changed drastically, where 2 by 2, if you a Noah Ark believer here, we're not going religious, but if you a Noah Ark believer, this is why we took 2 by 2, right? We can move into the New Testament where we, did the fatted calf, right? So if you live along the coastal, then you did a lot of seafood. You may not have had the same kind of land animals that we're talking about now. All of these things matter when you make decisions about your body, right? So here's the thing. God said eat meat. Man said eat leaves. It's time we start worshiping what grows from the ground and start healing from what walks on it. Point blank, right? Because again, and I think G said it and Robyn said it, we don't have a ruminator to process this. So guess what? When we eat all of these plants, all of these ultra processed foods that are based in plants, Cheerios, when you read the back of them, all of them are based in plants. They've been manipulated as some type of plants. That is what is storing on our body and wreaking havoc on us. And so turn it back to Robyn, because we're going to do a little bit more talking tonight. I do have a big bonus that I want to share, but I want to turn it back to Robyn so that we can talk about some other things.
All right. So we just have a few questions we're going to ask. I just want to kind of chat back and forth with you tonight, DeNitra, and see, and you guys can answer these questions down in the chat. What is one plant food that you eliminated that changed everything for you?
So if you're asking that question to me, Robyn, and people in the chat, for me, one of the major things that I knew early on that I needed to give up were potatoes and beans. I started learning about nightshades and potatoes and beans when I say caused me inflammation. And again, I did initially try to blame those things on eating meat. Even when I suffered with gout, I tried to blame it on red meat. But then I stopped eating meat altogether and I kept eating potatoes, beans. I was go get a vegetable plate, what I call now a side plate, because all them things ain't vegetables anyway. That was the thing that really started to let me see some success.
Yeah. Potatoes was a big one for me. I found that those starches really impacted my eczema. But the surprising ones for me were like, I found that I could not eat broccoli and cauliflower. Those were the first things that I tried because they're super simple, right? And so I tasted those and I found that those also flared up my eczema. So that was shocking to me that, those simple vegetables would cause that kind of a problem. But yeah, potatoes was a bad one. So if you guys have an answer for that question, you can drop it down in the chat. So how do we respond when people say, but you need plants, or where do you get your nutrients from?
Yeah, so this is a short answer because I've been rambling through this one the whole time. We now know that plants are carbohydrates and plants are non-essential to the diet. We're actually not getting vitamins and nutrients from them anyway. You mentioned earlier that there are some medicinal properties, right? If you are sick, but what we're talking about is being healed. Again, it would be like taking an antibiotic for a bacterial infection. And because it makes you feel good those 14 days, you decide that you're going to continue to eat them. So it's the same with plants. What plants actually do is agitate your system. That's how they help you get well, because it's an agitation to your system. It's more agitating than the thing that was already bothering you, right? So now it helps you to get well. So where do we get our nutrients from? Meat. I mean, Google for yourself the nutrients that are in a ribeye. It is literally the best thing that you could put in your body, besides that beef fat I just told y'all about.
Right.
Yes, that is where you're going to get your nutrients from.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this way of eating, is that the actual true healing part of it. So much of the stuff that we're doing is, we want to feel better. We'll take medicine to try to feel better, but we never consider actually healing our bodies. And that's what meat allows us to do. It allows us to go ahead and heal those diseases. Lupus is not supposed to be curable. And I think about my cousin who passed away a couple of years ago, and she was so sick. And if she could have tried this, it probably would have changed her life. Like, how many people are needlessly dying because they're eating all this plant food that's causing their bodies to just seize up, basically. It's causing all kinds of havoc in the body. All right. So, you guys, answer this question for me. What would you say to a woman who's scared to let go of her green smoothies? She needs a detox.
In the green smoothie is not the detox. So let's deal with detox, right? Y'all, Detox doesn't have to be something you put in. It is literally what you take out. Stop giving yourself that is causing you to be toxic, right? That is what you need to remove. So all during the beginning of the year, I hear people say things like, I'm gonna do this detox for 7 days. I'm gonna just cleanse my system. How you cleanse your system is stop putting the stuff in that toxins. When you hear us talk about carnivore, we call it the elimination way of eating, because we take out all things that could be inflammatory, right? That's why we call it elimination. The only thing that there is no science that says that it is inflammatory. All plants have research that shows that in some way they can be inflammatory, from nut allergies to nightshades to, broccoli is only less than 100 years old. It was made out of cabbage. Like, all of these things have the potential to be inflammatory. You know why? Because they are sugar. They are toxic. And so we talk about this even with the ultra processed foods. So Robyn, I got a bonus tonight.
All right.
The bonus tonight is this, because this is how I got on a vegetarian journey. What the health?
What the health? Yep.
So many of us, watched What the Health, and What the Health had all of this, things talking about how bad animals were, why we should be. And I haven't watched it in years, but let's not forget the impact of fear-based documentaries like What the Hell. It went viral by convincing millions that meat causes cancer and diabetes. But what was behind the scenes is what I want to make sure that we leave with tonight. And remember, I am a product of What the Health. I immediately immediately stop eating meat. I was sharing that video with everybody I knew. It was fear mongering, right? So there is a documentary called What the Health, right? But here's the backdrop that we don't think of. And remember, G says it on the show all the time, follow the money, right? It was funded and promoted by animal rights activists, not clinical researchers. This is where the funding comes from, right? The experts featured were tied to PETA and other plant-based lobbying groups. It used cherry-picked data, manipulated stats, and shock tactics to push a vegan agenda. Ladies, tonight, and gentlemen that have joined us, don't let Netflix guilt rob you of your metabolic healing. That documentary was one big commercial, not a clinical case study. You deserve real information and not fear marketing, right? All of us, when anything has the right kind of funding behind, I mean, if we had the right funding, we would overtake the world and everybody would be eating meat. We would have farms everywhere, right? It doesn't happen like that for us because there really is no profit in the things that we're teaching you all, right? We ain't here selling nothing.
Nope.
We just here, right? So I'm saying it to say that if you follow the money, so when we think about, there was a time where they told us that Cheerios was healthier than eating eggs and bacon. And it had this American Heart Association stamped on the front of it, right? I was recently invited to speak at an event that was like the ADA, the American Heart Association, and someone else. Like, I don't even want to go to that stuff because it contradicts like real science. It's all about money. Like, if you even study who backs those folks, what I will promote on tonight and put a plug in is for Dr. Berry. There is American Diabetes Society, ADS. And sometimes when you Google it, they give you the ADA first. But go a little deeper and check out Dr. Berry, Ken Berry, American Diabetes Society, if you want to get some good information about curing insulin resistance. So that was my bonus tonight, Robyn. I just want, because that's what I get often from people, is that they've watched What the Health and, what are we doing about these, animals. That I do say, and we say on the show, you have to be selective about your meat. Your nose will help you when you start to choose meat. If it stank, literally, if it stank, don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
Right.
Exactly. We do have a couple of questions out here, DeNitra, I'd like us to just answer for the folks.
Absolutely.
So Nana BC wants to know if butter raises insulin.
So no, butter does not raise insulin because it is a fat. It's going to be low carb. It is considered a fat. Now, usually what we're eating butter with, which is probably some protein, perhaps if you're putting it on your steak or you're putting it on your scallops, protein and fat together, they do make glucose, right? That's the little formula, which may spike insulin. I will say that it will be a low spike. It's not going to be a high spike like eating carbohydrates. It's not going to be the same type of spike. I don't know, Robyn, if you have something you want to add to that.
No, I think that's right. The one thing that I'm thinking in terms of is like those milk fat solids could potentially cause a little bit of an insulin rise. And so ghee might be better than butter, and tallow and beef fat are going to be better than butter.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
From an insulin perspective. We do have another question here, and I did respond to this question in the chat. Simpson is asking, do we have any ideas on why she developed severe joint pain, especially in the hands and feet after a couple years carnivore, and it went away completely after I drank tea? Why did that work?
So,
go ahead.
No, go.
So I responded that I believe that could potentially be oxalate dumping. Which is, oxalates are stored up in your body and they're going to continue to be released. Like I was saying, I've been on carnivore 2 years, but I'm having some issues with oxalate dumping on my forehead right here. And if you're having severe oxalate dumping, the recommendation is to drink a little bit of black tea because it does have oxalates. So you might add a little bit of oxalate food back in order to slow oxalate dumping down. But it can take years and years and years before your oxalates are all out.
That was great, Robyn. Remember, ladies, gentlemen, who's ever joining tonight, remember that our goal is to go from insulin resistance to insulin sensitivity. There's a process in between that, right? And that process is as your body is healing, part of that healing is to clean up, to clear up what's there, right? So there are times where you can't poop it all out. You can't sweat it all out. You can't cry it all out. But because your body is getting nutrients now, it is trying to get it out any way that it can. I remember when I first went carnivore, I ended up with a kidney stone, had never experienced that before, right? And I know now, and then too, because I was Googling Dr. Ken Berry, I knew that was oxalate dumping. That was my body ridding itself because it's so excited about the nutrients that it is getting, that it's kicking out other stuff. It's a good sign, Simpson, that your body is going to find that stuff and want to push it out. That's not a bad thing. It may hurt because healing isn't pretty, y'all. Let's not forget. Remember, if you've ever had any kind of surgery, any kind of broken bone in your body, you got better than you were before, but remember the process, right? The Bible says it like this: you get pregnant, you go through labor pains, but you forget all of that when you get what you came for, right? Which is the baby. Same thing here is when you get what you came for, you'll forget the pain, right? We don't want to forget so that we don't go back, right? We're doomed to repeat what we forget.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Well, we are at the end of our show tonight. We just want to say, I think we want to bring forth this challenge, right? So I would like to challenge you to try going plant-free for 7 days. No grains, no greens, no fruits, no vegetables, no quinoa, no beans, no plant-based cereals, none of that stuff. And then journal what happens to you over the course of that 7 days. I believe that you'll see a reduction in inflammation when you start to remove those plants from your body. The conclusion, though, DeNitra, is the conclusion in answering the question of the day, is the conclusion that plants are really trying to kill you?
Yeah, I will go a step further and say they are killing us.
Yes.
We are decaying as a result of eating plants, right? As a result of putting them, we've been told about this colorful, eat the rainbow kind of thing. And ultimately, we're decaying. Our bodies are walking dead. We talked earlier about the decay in our eyes. Those black eyes, y'all, that's insulin resistance. Skin tags on your neck, that's insulin resistant. So we're saying tonight, and I'm in total agreement with Robyn, don't believe us. We call it N=1 experiment, right? Try it for yourself. Give yourself 7 days where you don't. And guess what? There is no limit to the amount of meat and eggs you can eat, right? Now, cheese, we want to make sure you're eating cheese off the block. Not pre-shredded cheese, because pre-shredded cheese have plants in it. It's got wood chips in it called cellulose. So you want to be as close to eating any kind of meat that's not breaded, right? You can coat it if you want to coat something with pork rinds as a coating, but breading, no, right? Just try it, right? If you're going to go to McDonald's, somebody, and I'm answering the question that Tasha's asking about, a meal plan. Essentially what we're saying is, even if you have to go to McDonald's, right? We're saying eat the burger patties. The quarter pounder is going to be the best. You can go to Burger King if you got to eat the quarter pounder. Eat the Whopper there. Just eat. They'll sell you the patties individually, right? Here's a restaurant. I'm not going to call its name, but it's well famous. It doesn't sell burgers. It's a chicken place. I can't recommend it at all. There's nothing that I could recommend there that is carnivore. Okay. So the famous place that's closed on Sundays, I don't recommend it at all. There is nothing like every restaurant from Arby's to Crystal's to White Castle. I can recommend something that you can try there. This place that's closed on Sunday, I say skip it every day because there's no food. One of the sandwiches has 55 ingredients in it. Google these things for yourself. And I know we love them and I think we appreciate them because they're closed on Sunday. But I'm saying to you, as we're telling you to consider this 7-day, that's not a place you can go. It's just not a place you can go. So Tasha, one of the things that we also promote here versus promoting a meal, we promote fuel, right? We promote that you're fueling your body, because if you keep thinking in terms of a meal, you're going to think you need a meat and 2 sides. So if you go to a steak place, steak is sold a la carte. What you may want to do is say, hey, can I have the boiled eggs that you would normally put on my salad? Can I have the bacon that you would normally put on my salad? There's you a meal if you need a meal, right? But we're saying tonight that this thing can be done. And we want to hear from you. Like if you're not in the Hey Sister Girl group, join the Hey Sister Girl group on Facebook. Let us know how you're doing over these 7 days. If you come back next week and you want to bring your questions, we'll start the show next week where we can kind of talk about listening for the people who actually tried it for 7 days. You can find either one of us, NG, that you want to share with us what's going on with you over your 7 day. This is a trial for yourself. You're trying everything else. You're trying BBL, you're trying Mounjaro, you're trying the GLP-1s. We're just saying, don't think of this as carnivore. Think of this as I'm going to not eat sugar in any form for the next 7 days. Don't think of it as carnivore. Just say, hey, I know now that plants are sugar.
Yep.
Cakes and cookies are sugar. They're going to metabolize in my body as sugar. They're going to spike my blood. And when they spike my blood, they're going to spike insulin, and insulin is going to store it on me. So that's what you're saying to yourself, is that I'm just not doing that for 7 days. That's it, Robyn.
That's it, everybody. We hope that we have answered this question effectively for you tonight. Now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. We'll see you guys back next week for another episode of Hey Sister Girl. We're going to have a guest, and that is going to be Violet Riviera. So we're excited to have her on next week. Come back and let us know how your 7-day trial went, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.